The New York Times acknowledging what many conservatives have been saying for nearly 2 years now, that kids' well-being is being sacrificed for the sake of adult safety during the pandemic. Former professor at Princeton and Vandy, Dr. Carol Swain of the Texas Public Policy Foundation joins us now. Great to see you as always. Here's the exact quote from the New York Times. Again, the liberal bastion known as the New York Times, no conservative publication here. Quote, many communities have tried to minimize the spread of COVID, a worthy goal absent other factors, rather than minimizing the damage that COVID does to society. They have accepted more harm to children in exchange for less harm to adults, often without acknowledging the dilemma or assessing which decisions lead to less overall harm. For the liberal New York Times to admit this really does underscore how dire this crisis is. Why are we sacrificing our kids like this, Dr. Swain?
I would say that the left has always done this to our children. A few years ago, we were very focused on the fact that our children were terrified about climate change. We've used our children for political agendas. There were teachers that took their children without parental permission to Black Lives Matters rallies. And so it goes on and on. And for the New York Times to acknowledge the harm to children, that is great. They also should be writing about the fact that 2/3 of the children who have been hospitalized are obese. And they're 10 times more likely to have problems with COVID. So when you look at the vaccine push on all of our children, they really should focus on the ones that are most vulnerable. Those are the ones who are obese.
Yet, Dr. Swain, as we've seen, you still have schools across the country going remote or not going at all. In the case of Chicago, Teachers Union refusing to have their members work. Yet here's the statement from one of those teachers union presidents, Randy Weingarten, who's been in the news a lot the last couple of years for this very reason. Quote, there are very real logistical decisions schools are making. We know kids do better in person, but the spike is real. We need adequate staff and the safety measures in place, including testing, masking, and ventilation. There is a lot of stress. Dr. Swain, where's the concern for the irreversible consequences from the stress on our kids?
I mean, there's no science backing up, that the children in school is a risk to the parents or themselves. And but the media narrative now is that the hospitalization rates of children, that they're skyrocketing. When you look at the teachers' unions, they've never been about our children. They've been about ease for themselves, getting more money for less work. And so they're using children as they've always used them. Meanwhile, you look at the achievement levels of our children in America that is dropping. We're falling far behind other nations. We look at the suicide rates of our children and just the fact that we've made them miserable. The mask, lowering IQs, making it harder for children to develop. We act as if we don't care about children. We see this not just with the COVID, we see it with abortion, we see it with transgendering children that are under 18, we see it with scaring them with the environment and just putting them out front for adult agendas and politics.
70% of teachers say they have seen test scores in their kids go down. China sitting back and laughing at us right now. That is a huge issue to monitor in the coming decades. Dr. Carol Swain, we appreciate your insight as always. Thank you very much.